Watch this video until the end before you buy the Canon R5C. It's an amazing camera and I will talk about the pros and the cons of this camera. So it's a true hybrid camera. For photography it's really good. It's basically your normal Canon camera. If you come from older DSLR cameras, it has a little bit different colors and it's a little bit sharper than the older cameras, which I don't like that much, but you can fix it in Lightroom or Capture One. For photography it's really great. The battery life is okay. You maybe need some spare batteries for photography too if you're shooting an entire day, but for photography it's fine. In video mode on this camera you have proper monitoring tools, which is very important. You have waveform, false color and vector scope. The two most important are waveform and false color, especially with this camera. You want to get your exposure right. So you use waveform for this and you check if everything is in the range where it should be, and you can also use false color for that, which is also very useful. This camera is also dual base ISO, which means you have two different base ISO settings. So you have ISO 800 and ISO 3200. So this means basically at ISO 800 your noise level is pretty clean. So this is your cleanest level. If you need more exposure, you can set it at base ISO 3200 and there it will clean up. So if you use ISO 2500 with base ISO 800, it's more noise. But if you go up to base ISO 3200, you get a clean noise level again, which is very useful and makes this camera a little bit more suitable for darker scenarios. Another benefit of this camera is you can adapt older EF lenses, which makes it a way better choice for filmmaking and photography, because most of you know Blackmagic uses the EF mount, Red uses the RF mount, so you will be in the cinema world with an RF or EF mount or Canon lenses in general. So for that reason the R5C is a good choice for that. So I have the Mickey adapter because it's better. It's the Mickey adapter with the variable ND filter, and the variable ND filter from Canon has a magenta shift and this one hasn't, and this one is 180 euros and the other one is 500 euros, and everything works just fine. The autofocus mode works perfectly in photo and video mode, which is very essential if you want to adapt some lenses. And with Canon native glass everything works perfectly fine. Also with third-party manufacturers like Sigma or Tamron, everything works well. You have the possibility to use a variable ND filter right here, which is also very nice because you can screw other filters on top right here, like a block promise filter or a polarizer, and this is also very useful. Another benefit of this camera is it shoots 4K 120 FPS, which is very useful on these memory cards, which are CFast Express Type B memory cards, which are very common now. I also use it in my Red Moto X. These are the same cards. They are fast enough for anything you want to capture with the Red. You can also record 8K RAW up to 60 FPS with this camera, and this camera is also Netflix approved. So I use most of the time C-Log 3 on this camera with the XF AVC 10-bit codec, which is very good and very usable in DaVinci Resolve. It's very nice to grade and the file size is also manageable. So basically this camera just works. It's not the best camera in the world, but it does the job in every way. So it does it in photography and filmmaking. So it's a cinema camera and a photo camera. They really did a good job of doing that. But now to the cons. Why it's not that good, the battery life. So usable battery life of an LPE6NH battery, which this camera comes with, will give you about 20 to 30 minutes usable runtime, depending on the outside temperature and stuff like that. But 20 to 30 minutes usable stuff, I mean, you don't want to drain the battery until 0%, so you will take it out of the camera at 10, maybe 5%. So for that reason, I think the usable time is more 25 minutes with this battery. I have multiple batteries for that reason. So you have to have more than 2 or 3 batteries for this camera to go out on shooting. There are new batteries from Canon, the LPE6P batteries, which will power the camera for I think 40 to 60 minutes. I haven't tried it out for myself, so I don't have any of these batteries. I have multiple Canon LPE6 NH batteries, and they are 100 euros per battery. If you want batteries for the camera, I highly recommend you use the LPE6P batteries for the Canon R5C because they give you more runtime. I don't know if they hold up that well, but even 40 to 60 minutes at one battery is not that much, and you will need at least 4 to 5 for a whole day of shooting video. I have to say, because photos, the battery life is better, but in video it's not that good. I would buy 4 to 5 batteries, which will cost you 400 to 500 euros to just power this camera. But if you do that, it's a very compact camera and you can use it. Another con for this camera is the micro HDMI port. I've seen many YouTube videos where they opened the camera and there would be enough space in this camera to get here a full-size HDMI. The problem with the micro HDMI port is that if anything comes to that cable, you can ruin this port so easily, and then you can send in your camera and pay I don't know how much to get it fixed. You can run the camera via USB-C. The problem is as well, if something comes against the USB-C cable, you will ruin the port, and I don't know if they even can fix it if it's really broken. This camera is nowhere near as robust as the older Canon cameras, especially not as the 1DX Mark II. Also the flip LCD screen is nice to have, but it's also a weak point of the camera, because if you have it clamped out like this and you smash against it, this will break immediately. Everything is plastic, so no metal nowhere here. So I think it's also really a weak point. The display is pretty good on the camera, but yeah, it's not as tough as the older Canon cameras. You can see that also here. I think it's plastic. Yeah, and I don't think this will survive the same thing a Canon 5D Mark III can, or a 1DX Mark II or Mark III could. Another thing is the camera menu in the video system, which is a bigger problem, but if you're used to Canon cinema cameras, you know the menu. The menu is not that good. It's nothing compared to the Blackmagic menu or the Red menu. Also the 8K 60 FPS RAW, it's not really that good of a RAW. It's Canon RAW. It's not as good as Red RAW, for example, or Blackmagic RAW. B-RAW is way better, I think, than this RAW. And yeah, of course, Red RAW is better, but yeah, I wouldn't use it. I use the 10-bit codecs in this camera, which are totally fine, and you get good results, and you don't need the RAW really in this camera. The camera menu, as I already told you, is very complicated, and Blackmagic and Red shows how easy a menu can be, but it's amazing how complicated a camera menu can be. And the cinema system from Canon has this overwhelming menu where you have to read the manual to just use this camera. With no other camera, you have to read the manual. You can use an Arri Alexa, any Red camera or any Blackmagic camera, just spend 20 to 30 minutes with the camera and you know everything about it. But with this camera, it's insane how much you have to learn to get everything to work. So also the pictures are a little bit too sharp for my liking, but it's taste. I know that, it's only my opinion. I think the camera has a little bit desaturated colors and is a little bit sharper. It mainly has to do because it's a different sensor than the 1DX or the Canon 5D series. But yeah, for me it's too sharp and the colors aren't that nice. But I know that has to do with the different sensor, with the different megapixel count. So a 45 megapixel sensor is in this camera, and in the Canon 1DX there's a 20 megapixel sensor, and in the 5D series a 24 megapixel sensor, I think. And yeah, that's the reason why the pictures look a little bit different, but nothing dramatic. You can fix it in post-production, so you can fix it in Lightroom or Capture One. So should you buy this camera? If you don't want to use external monitors and you're okay with the weak battery life of this camera, then yes. It's a great camera, it can do it all. You can color grade the footage, it's great for photography, the autofocus works great, it has dual base ISO, you can use a variable ND filter in the adapter and use a polarizer, for example, on the front of the lens, so it's also great for that. So overall, it's a great camera which can do it all. So it's nice, but the battery life is not good. So you really have to think about what you want to shoot and how you want to power the camera. You can power via USB-C, but you have to be very careful to not break the USB-C port, because yeah, if you do that, you can't power the camera externally. And yeah, it's a pretty good camera. It's a pretty good overall package. I would not recommend it if you want to use external monitors or external power delivery, because those two ports can break easily. If you throw anything against it, or if it's on a tripod and you run it against it and these ports break, you break the entire camera. So I would only recommend it for people who want to use the display on the back and who are okay with using the LPE6 batteries, which are not great and which will cost you 100 euros per battery. You have to get 5 to 7 batteries to run this camera an entire day. And even then, I think you have to plug in some of those batteries on the shooting day to really run this the entire day. And yeah, if you're fine with that, it's a great camera. You should not think that you just get the camera and get 2 batteries or 3 batteries and you're fine. You're not. No matter what you do, even if you do just photography, you should get at least 3 different batteries to run this camera. Depending on which settings you use, if you use the live monitor feature on the display, you will need 3 batteries. If you just use the viewfinder, you maybe are good with 2 batteries, but you really have to think about this before you buy the camera and add the cost to your calculation, because this camera needs some rigging and some adapter stuff. So I think 300 euros for the batteries, at least 180 euros for the adapter if you want to use EF glass. So you're at 500 euros. And then you have to get a memory card, which will also cost 200 to 400 euros, depending on how much memory you need. And then you're at 800 euros. So I think if you want to buy this camera, look up the price, and I think 800 to 1,000 euro is a reasonable price range you have to add to your calculation to get this camera working. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the Canon R5C. Is it good? Is it bad? What would you get instead? And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.